Now that we've looked at how materials react to geometry within SketchUp, let's take a quick look at creating custom materials inside of Photoshop. Now, not everybody's going to have Photoshop, but just want you to be aware of the capabilities that are available, and custom materials can be made. So specifically, maybe the fascia board I want to be this color, but maybe I want to have a nice texture like a wood to be applied to the fascia. Just give it a little bit more realistic color. Um, we'll get more into actually applying material to the model itself in the coming episode. But just a quick example, otherwise the fascia would look like this, which is fine, and it gives a great representation of what's going on. But uh, maybe we can up the ante and get just a little bit nicer of a color or material in there with some texture. So what we can do is select this material. You see it's right here. With it selected, we can go to edit, and this icon right here will bring us into our external editor, which currently is set up as Photoshop. And here it is, it brings it in. And what I want to do is create an additional layer. Create an additional layer that I want to apply the RGB values to. And so here's my RGB. Let me go back into Photoshop and go to, or excuse me, SketchUp, and here's my RGB of, we gotta go back and select our fascia color. I go back to edit. So we have 121, 106, 91. So we'll come into Photoshop and type in 121, 96, and 101, I believe it is. Oops, excuse me, 106, 106, and 91. Yeah, 121, 106, 91. 121, 106, 91. So there's our matching color. So great. So we will apply that, and basically going to put this layer on top of my color, and we are going to simply change the mode to multiply. As you can see, it gets rid of all the white and just lets that texture read. Maybe it's a little too much and I want to take the opacity down just so it's not so heavy, and there we go. That looks pretty decent. So maybe we will layer and flatten the image. So now we can create a JPEG or save our JPEG, and we can hit Control S, and you see it saves the material. And so there we have it. We have a nice material that's a very similar color that has a nice texture to it now. And to do the same thing with say our TNG that we want to do on the soffit, we'll select this, come into here, and we can actually come back to the one we just created, undo a little bit, and we can take this layer, which is just simply our pure color, and plop it right on top and sit it right there. And again, the same way we worked it before, we can put our TNG right on top and multiply it, and there you go. I don't think we need to change the opacity. It actually looks pretty good that way. We'll flatten the image, and again, we can save it out. Control S to save. And when we come back into Photoshop, or excuse me, SketchUp, there you go. We have our soffit detail with a similar color. And even if this one maybe looks a little dark inside of here, you can even use SketchUp to maybe lighten it up just a smidge and get a little closer to the color we want. So there you go. That's actually looking pretty nice. We can use those colors. So maybe we'll move this down and delete those out. You don't have to create these swatches. I just did this more as a visual effect of how to create materials and what our material palette's going to be. And the final piece I really want to show you here, again, and we've talked a little bit about it before, is the purge feature. So I can get rid of all these. I don't need these anymore, so I'm going to dump them. And I can come in here and go purge unused. First, let me do this. We're gonna go window model info, and really what you can look at here is we have 26 materials. Um, let's see here. We have and component definitions are 58. We had some components that we just deleted and some materials we just deleted. So I can come here within materials and uh, click on this and say, let me move this over here so it can be seen. So watch as I click this and go purge unused, you'll see that the materials drop from 26 down to 20 because we got rid of several materials. A couple hung around, but we don't need them. I know they're not here, so we're just going to delete them out. And partly, actually, I know exactly why, and this is actually a great point. These materials are still stuck in here because if I hit Shift C, which is my hot command for components, this is a component that we had made to play with our materials. The component is still, even though I delete this, you can see these are all the components in my model. This component is still stuck in the model itself, therefore the materials are still stuck. And so there's two ways of purging things, and the one that I really use the most, if not exclusively, is not this fly out here to purge unused. Really what I use is under window model info statistics is purge unused, because this will actually go through and purge everything. So you'll see that the component definitions will drop from 58 to whatever it is by removing any components that we're not using, which we have deleted, as well as the materials that will go away. So if I go purge unused, you'll see we drop from 58 to 57 components, and from 20 to 18, and if I hit B, you see those materials are gone. So this is a great way of just purging stuff out that you don't need, especially when it comes to materials. If you're applying several different ones to try things out, you can really add a lot of information to the model that's not needed. So I highly suggest using purge, especially if you use a hotkey like I use I for model info, and it brings it up right where it was. So I just hit, so while I'm working, I can hit I, purge unused, and then Control S for save, and we're good. We just now purged everything out, and we've saved the model. It's a very efficient way of attacking keeping a clean model.